Hey guys, Geoffrey here. In this video, I want to show you the 3 questions you need to ask yourself before you take advice from other people, even professionals sometimes. And I want you to pay attention to this video because this was the exact same problem that I faced when I was trying to save my own relationship. There was so much advice that you could get from family, from videos, from articles, from people like me, etc. that sounds good, but actually may not be leading you to the good results that you want. And I'm not saying here that you should only listen to me and listen to me only. I'm just giving you the 3 questions that you need to ask yourself, and you can decide for yourself on whether you want to listen to me or other people and so on. But I want you to use this advice to make sure that you get the best advice that you can use for your own relationship and not fall into traps or doing the wrong things. And worst of all, doing the wrong things without even you knowing about it in the first place. So in case you're new to this channel, my name is Geoffrey and I help men in long-term relationships or marriages to become the best and most irreplaceable version of themselves to re-attract your partner back into the relationship. So if you want more content on this topic, be sure to subscribe to this channel and also click that bell button as well to be notified when I post new videos every single week. And before I begin this video, I also want to let you know that the masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up is still open. So if you want to join me in the masterclass, or if you want to submit your application for the Relationships Revival program, be sure to stick around to the very end of this video for the announcement on how you can join both those things. So I want to start here with the first question you need to ask yourself, which is, have they made the same zero to hero journey as yourself? Now, this might sound obvious. Of course, before you listen to someone's advice, you want to ask yourself, do they have the outcome that I'm actually looking for? If you're right now getting a lot of advice from your family, from other people, for example, and you look at their own relationship and you say, that's not what I want. I don't want a relationship like that. I don't want a relationship that's not happy, or I don't want a divorce. Then think again before you listen to them and feel free to ignore that advice. Now, I want to take it one step further though, because this first insight is going to be very obvious to a lot of you. The second thing also is that experience alone does not qualify someone to give you advice, to give you good advice. So there's a lot of people, if you look at forums, if you look at Facebook groups, if you look at even my YouTube comments sometimes, there's going to be a lot of people who will tell you things like, I have dealt with a stonewaller before. My best advice is to get out of there. It's to give up in the relationship. I have dealt with an affair before and I left my relationship, etc. So these people are saying basically, I have been through an affair. I have been through stonewalling. I have been through XYZ, whatever it is you're going through right now. You should listen to me. But you experiencing something does not qualify you to give advice on something. And a great example of this is in business. If you, let's say, are someone who went through a business challenge and you went bankrupt because of the business challenge, you should not be giving people advice. If you're bankrupt, if you could not get through those business challenges, you should not be giving advice to people on how to start their business. Now, the story changes if you went through challenges in your business and you were able to break through that and get success despite the challenges. Great. So the same way here, you going through affairs, you going through people who stonewalled you, you going through toxic relationships does not qualify you to give advice to someone on how they can get out of toxic relationships, how they can break through stonewalling, affairs, etc. So before you listen to someone's advice, ask yourself again, okay, they've been through it, great, but have they overcome it? Have they broken through it? If they haven't, don't listen to that as well. And number 3 here is that the starting point is also very crucial. Now, there's a lot of people too who have good results, who have good relationships, but if they haven't been through the same situation that you are in, then you need to think twice about getting advice from these people as well. So a great example of this, again, when I moved to this country, I was trying to seek help from people who spoke really good English because I didn't speak the language at all. Now, when I asked these people, the first thing they told me was, I don't know, you just try. So they couldn't really teach me English because they grew up speaking English. They grew up given the gift of speaking English. The same thing, if you started your relationship in a very good state and you never have to go through the struggle, you don't know the nuances of what it means to struggle, what the struggles feels like, how to get through the struggle, etc. And you might have a great relationship, but you don't know how to articulate and teach someone how to get themselves to where you are. Similarly, someone who has spoken English their whole life may not be the best teacher of English to someone. Sometimes the best teacher of English is someone who didn't speak a word of English, had to learn everything from scratch, connected all the dots and learn all the nuances so that they can teach someone from the ground up, from the ground zero as well. So again, the sub-criteria behind this is before you listen to someone, ask them like, have they really made the zero to hero journey that you want? And the starting point matters, the ending point matters, and experience alone, going through that journey alone, doesn't qualify someone. That person needs to go through that journey and be successful and conquer that as well. Now, be especially aware too of those that are especially close to you, friends and family who they care about you a lot and they want to give you advice and they feel compelled to give you advice sometimes. But again, you have to filter those advice through these 3 criteria that we talk about. And this is why if you join the program, the community in the program that we have with close to 1,000 people now is the most important and sometimes the most valuable part of the program, because this is a community of close to 1,000 men who are all going through the same thing, who are all trying to do the same thing, who are all trying to make the zero to hero journey, and who are filled with people who have already made the zero to hero journey as well. And this is also why often I say more advice is not always better. I tell my clients all the time to put on their blinders basically and not listen to too many conflicting advice, because it does get confusing. Now, I'm not saying here again that you should abandon everyone else and just listen to me. All I'm saying is, as you learn the 3 criteria here of what advice to take, pick one person, pick one mentor, pick one person that you think can get you the best results, and pick that one person to avoid this confusion for yourself. And you might be thinking here too, well, Jeff, this seems like this cuts out advice from so many people. Like, who do I listen to? Do I listen to just one person? Yes, you should be cutting out advice from a lot of people. And you should be listening to just 1 or 2 at most. Like for me, for my business, I listen to one person for my business. I listen to one person for my relationship. I listen to one person for each area of my life that I'm trying to get results for. And that's by design, because I want to focus on listening to the people who have done the zero to hero journey that I'm also trying to make as well. Now, question number 2 that you need to ask yourself is the advice that I'm getting a principle or a reference? So what is a reference-based advice? A reference-based advice is usually when you're taking advice from someone and the advice is just a reference to either getting you to blindly follow what the general public, the commonly accepted advice is, or the popular advice. Or perhaps it's blindly following some expert advice by your therapist, by gurus on the internet, etc. So basically here you are basing your decisions, you're basing your understanding of something on what other people are saying. And if other people say it, if more people say it, if it's a commonly accepted popular advice, you will take it as well. But if you look at a principles-based advice, what happens is this kind of advice really breaks things down to its fundamental truths, fundamental core truths. And it allows you, when you understand these fundamental truths, to improvise and to act more effectively. Now, this can sound really vague for a lot of people, but let me give you 2 examples of this in action. So I'm going to try to post this video above my head here about emotions. And I'm going to also post it down below this video as well in the description below. But we talked about emotions and how emotions are formed in this way. Emotions are formed not by the event itself, but you experience an event and the event passes through the lens of your paradigm or the way you've been trained to think about the world. Your paradigm creates your automated interpretations, and your interpretations then create your emotions. And we know this is happening. We know that the event is not causing the emotions, because if you put, let's say, 100 people in the same room, those 100 people looking at the same things, those 100 people are going to have widely different emotions about the same event, the same thing that they're looking at. It's because those people have different paradigms on how they've been trained to see the world, and these different paradigms leads to infinitely different interpretations. And so it's the interpretations and the paradigms that causes the formation of emotions, not the event itself. And emotions don't just come. It's how we subconsciously interpret the world. And it's a very subjective thing. It's a very automated thing for a lot of people. It's a very subconscious thing. So this is a principle. This is one example of a principle. And if we understand the principle, let's say we get the reference-based advice that people tell you, hey, the best way to calm down is to meditate, is to journal, for example. Well, let's pass it through this principle. If again, the principle is that emotions are formed via the interpretations and the paradigms that we have. And in order to change emotions then we need to change the paradigms and the interpretations. We got to ask ourselves, does meditation, does journaling, does it change our paradigms about the world? Does it change our interpretations? It doesn't. In fact, for a lot of people, journaling and meditation just exacerbates their current paradigm, their current interpretation. So here we take a reference-based advice and we can filter it through our first principles to determine for ourselves, is this good advice or bad advice? And if we understand this principle of how emotions form and how to change emotions, then we can understand also, if we want to change our emotions, is to change and reprogram our paradigms that it will in turn lead to subconsciously different interpretations as well that leads to different emotions as well, which is what we do and how we approach emotions management in our program as well. And if you want more info on this, check out the link below this video for that video that we discuss in depth about emotions too. Another example of this is about things like smart contact or no contact, especially for marriages. So if you follow the reference-based advice of people telling you no contact works, smart contact works, that gets very confusing very fast. But let's break things down to the principle. And the principle here is that, again, not because of the problems, but because of the lack of safety. Right? The lack of safety meaning that your partner or you or both of you do not feel free to share the full extent of your thoughts, of your emotions, of your existence, of your experiences, etc. And we also know the principle of the fact that relationships break down because of the negative confirmation bias that's been growing and perpetuated about each other for a very long time. This is what we mean when we say baggage forms in our relationships. Now, if we understand those two principles, then we can start to understand also how if you do no contact or smart contact, that could work in the sense of early stages of the relationship when you're in dating stages, but it doesn't work when you're in a marriage. Because when you're in a marriage, your marriage is breaking down again because of the long-term confirmation bias, the negative confirmation bias that leads to the destruction of safety. And if you're playing no contact, or you're playing smart contact and simply waiting for your partner to bring up conversations with you, the difficult conversations with you, then that will never work. Because by definition, your partner is not going to be the one who expresses the issues to you because of the lack of safety in the first place. You know, if you lack safety, you can't expect your partner to be the one to start the healing process, to want to start the conversation process and to bring up difficult conversations if there's a lack of safety in the first place. It doesn't really work. It doesn't really make sense. So here, again, we're taking a reference-based advice and we're passing it through different principles that we know about relationships, etc. And we're deciding whether this advice is good advice or bad advice. And we're deciding whether to follow it or not as well. And if we understand that, if we understand that the reason why relationships break down is because of a lack of safety, and the lack of safety is caused by the perpetuation of negative confirmation biases, then we know that we need to develop a mindset and a framework that allows us to reverse that cycle, to reverse that feedback loop and start the difficult conversations, but start them in the correct way, which is what we do in our program as well. And this is why when you listen to my videos are always very long because I try to give you guys the principles, not just tell you what to do, but tell you why, the principles behind it, the truth behind it as well. So you, for one, can decide for yourself whether you want to do this or not. It allows you to understand something deeper, to allow you to improvise and to allow you to act in a more effective way as well. And it's also why our program is 60 plus hours of content and much more than what you can find in any other programs in the market, simply because we try to dig deeper to the principles level, not just telling you what to do or say. Now, question number 3 is this advice within my locus of control, or is this what we call TBU, or true but useless? So let's discuss first, what is TBU? What is the true but useless advice? So usually, there are 3 very good indicators for TBUs. One is that it feels good, but it doesn't actually give you anything new. It doesn't give you anything new to do. So if you go to Facebook groups, if you go to support forums and they tell you, for example, someone gives you the advice, hey, it's okay, you deserve better than that. Now that advice feels good, but if you really think about it, what does it actually give you in terms of growth, in terms of things to do, in terms of clarity? It doesn't really. It's just an ego stroke that is meant to make you feel better, but it doesn't actually let you do anything. It's true, but it's useless. The second type is when this advice tends to be blaming your partner or blames the external circumstance. So again, whenever people say, your partner is toxic, your partner is stonewalling, your partner is gaslighting, you should leave someone like that. It's like, okay, great. That is advice for sure, but is the advice about me or is the advice about them, about my partner, about external stuff that I can't really control? If the advice is about your partner or what your partner should do, what other people should do, what the external world should do, how the external world should change, then you can't really do anything with that. It's true but useless. If the advice is about something about you, something you did, something that you can control, something you can fix, it might be harder and more difficult to listen to, but at least you can do something about it. And the third criteria here is really, they often focus on diagnosing but not treatments. And a great example of this is attachment styles. So if you Google the word attachment styles, you will see so many videos on that. And I don't understand why these videos get so many views because all these videos, all they do is just diagnose. They don't give you treatments. Another form of videos that often get a lot of views that I refuse to do because of my understanding of what I'm telling you here is videos like 5 signs that your marriage is gone, is over. 5 signs your wife is having an affair, all these things. All these videos are about diagnosis. And worst of all, these videos are often diagnosing things on a very correlational level. It's almost like if you go to YouTube and you type in, do I have cancer? And you look at all the symptoms of cancer, you realize, oh crap, nah, I have cancer. I have every single sickness and disease that could possibly exist somehow. Because diagnosis alone is not valuable in itself. A diagnosis without a treatment is not useful. It's a true but useless thing. And so, a lot of people, when they're in the space, they love to diagnose things. They love to diagnose their partner, themselves. They love to diagnose the problems and overanalyze the problems, but they don't spend enough time trying to figure out, okay, so what can I do about it? What can I do about it? How can I fix it? And if you want a video on attachment styles, I'm going to give you a video down below this video as well. In fact, all the videos that I'm mentioning in this video itself, I'm going to link it down below this video so you can really understand what I mean when I talk about these principles, what I mean when I talk about what is the difference between good advice and bad advice as well. But if you start looking at better advice always leads to something that you can do. Something that you can do that is within your control. And not just about blaming other people and wishing things to be different, wishing your partner to be different, but it allows you to do something different. And this may not always feel good. It requires you to humbly look at the self. It requires you to focus on the treatments instead. And a lot of people don't do this because honestly, it's very difficult to look within like this. When you just blame your external circumstance, when you just blame your partner, you're actually giving yourself an excuse to not have to confront your own 100% contribution to the 50%. It's giving you excuses to actually escape the internal work that might take 6 months, a year, 2 years sometimes for you to do. It allows you to make the excuse here and tell yourself that you have grown enough when in fact you haven't grown at all. It allows you to be happy with the tiny little growth that you have when you have grown from, like, let's say level 1 to level 5. If you never get to find out that that's actually a level 50. If you never find out that's a level 50, you can be happy with your level 5. But if, let's say, you look within and you realize there's a level 50 for self-growth, now suddenly you're level 5, you can't be so happy about it. And you can't escape the work anymore. Once you know the truth about what you did, about your contribution, about how much you can actually grow, how much more you can grow, you have no more excuses. And that's painful for a lot of people. But like they always say, you can escape reality, you can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And the people who look within and they finally realize their own contribution and what they need to grow, and they don't keep trying to escape the work, these guys, they experience massive results and massive happiness for the rest of their lives. And so guys, I'm not here trying to sell you anything or anything like that, but I know that you're watching this video because you're in a very difficult spot. And if you want a community that is filled with people who have done the exact 0 to hero journey that you're trying to do right now, and if you want a program, if you want something, a resource that actually teaches you the principles, that allows you to improvise in a more confident way, in a more effective way for the rest of your life, and if you want to actually get advice that you need to hear, not just what you want to hear, but you need to hear this so that you can live the rest of your life in the most thriving way possible, then I want you to join me in my free masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up. In that masterclass, I'll show you the exact process that I teach all my clients that has allowed them to face massive transformations in themselves to a point where their partner was dead set on divorce, dead set on separation, dead set on leaving, but they grow so much and so massively that it becomes really difficult for their partner to leave now. So if you want to see more stories like this, if you want to see proof of what I'm claiming here, feel free to look at my client stories above my head right now. But if you want to join me in this masterclass, or if you want to sign up for the Relationships Revival program that we have as well, then you can click the link above my head as well, or click the link down below this video to join that masterclass or to apply for the Relationships Revival program. And if you want to get a free guide to get an understanding of what one of these principles or frameworks look like, then I want you to download the guide I have for you above my head or also down below this video. And finally, if you want to join a community, this is a free community different from the paid community where you can ask your questions, get to know other people who are facing the same journey as you, and have a member of my team respond to you and help you and support you as well, then feel free to join me in my free Facebook group down below this video as well. Now, in the meantime, if you found this video helpful, give it a like. It really helps the channel out and spread it to more people. And subscribe to the channel also for more content like this one as well. And if you have a comment or a question, feel free to leave them down below. I would love to hear from you guys. In the meantime, I'll leave you with these 2 other videos with more content and skills to allow you to become an irreplaceable version in your relationship. For now, I will see you in the next video.